haven't seen anything there yet. So I said it's a full consent, I said I never got an approval. What's up?
I'd like to call our monthly meeting to order. Would you all please rise and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody here today to the June regular meeting of the County Board of Edgar County. Would you please call the roll, Augie?
Certainly. Good morning. Farnham.
Here.
Lawton. Here. Luddington. Patrick.
Here.
Bruner.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
And Boyd.
Here. We have obviously a quorum, 6 out of 7. We have to approve and accept the minutes for the meetings of May 10th and the special meeting of May 22nd of 2023. You've had those in your possession. Is there any questions? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes as presented. Russ moves. Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. Claims against the county. We need to approve those. Have you had a chance to look at those? And do you have any questions or clarifications needed? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the claims as submitted. Dan moves. Russ seconds. Assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It does carry. County Board claims, you had those, Augie sent those out on Friday and you have a hard copy. Are there any questions or clarifications? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to approve the claims of board members. Andy moves. Russ seconds. Assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are carried and approved. Next, we come to the portion of the meeting for public comments. We have the rostrum up there, and we'd ask that you identify yourself if you have comments and maintain your comments to 5 minutes. So are there any comments to be made before the board?
I have a public comment.
Sure. Hi, Rita.
Hi. I apologize that my thoughts are not well put together as usual, but I've been a little busy, as you can see. All right, so I'm just here today in hopes of inspiring maybe a little thought and provoking a little thought and confidence and courage in regards to wind and solar and the setbacks. I'm not sure exactly where we're at, other than I've seen that I think we went with what the state has put into law. But allowing the ordinance as it was to be torn down, in my opinion, is allowing for the destruction of properties of every rural land and homeowner in Edgar County. And our county's greatest asset, farmland, our greatest revenue generator. These companies have openly stated that they want to abate farming, which means do away with, and they use the word abate because nobody will look up what it means. We knew the state's next move when the ordinance was written. We attempted to put one in place. We knew when our ordinance was written what the state was going to do. So I guess my question is, why would we have put one in place if we were just going to roll over when the state came down with a law? You might say there's a law and nothing can be done, but we could reinstate the ordinance that we had and try to fight the state. I had texted Lisa and she mentioned, that would cost the taxpayers potentially money because the state could come in and sue us then. But I would put to you, we spend money every day in our county with taxes. We're putting a new jail in. We have coming out in the paper every week about how much money it's costing taxpayers and trying to get the jail to cost less and things like that. But I would say there's no greater use of our tax dollars than fighting things coming into our county that we know are lies, that we know are not to be what they say they are, and that would protect landowners and homeowners in our county. The city of Danville, I would just put you some examples. The city of Danville, the mayor just stood up against the abortion pill, even though potentially they will be sued. They stood up against the abortion pill coming into their community. The county sheriffs band together when the AR ban came out and said, no, we will not enforce this law. You know, we can band together, we can fight fights, it's just a matter of wanting to. The last meeting I was at, which was a long time ago, I was told, you know, we have to put an ordinance in place because it's legal to have wind, it's legal to have solar, we have to allow property owners to have it, which I understand. But that same meeting, we took a vote, you all took a vote and voted to not allow pot into the community and not to allow pot to be sold in the community, weed shops, because it was a moral grounds, even though that's legal. So we can't take up fights, it's just a matter of what we want to fight. So some would argue our obligation is to state law. I would argue our greatest obligation is always to do what's right, and that means not lying down complacent and complying in any lie. Yes, the sun can generate energy, the wind can generate energy, but as it stands, the way it is being put out to us, they are not clean, they are not green, they are a lie, and they're not safe or healthy for us to live around. The last thing I'm going to say, I don't mean to be offensive, and I don't mean to be degrading in any way, because these are things I say to myself and conversations I have with myself to come out and speak to you. But our country and state are in such a mess right now. So with things as messy and horrible as they are in our country, in our state, if it's not taking courage to come to meetings and take votes, if you don't feel like you're taking a stand on a daily basis, if you don't feel like it's hard to make decisions, and you're making the hard decisions, then I would ask you to just think, like, are you serving the people in our, you know, are you serving the public well? Are you serving this next generation well? Are they gonna have to clean up the messes that we've allowed to be made for them? The last thing I'll give you, this is an essay I think everyone should read, Alexander Solzhenitsyn. He was do you know who he is?
Russian, yes.
Yes. He was an atheist and for communism until he was sent to the gulags. And then he became outspoken, live not by lies. I can email a copy to all of you, but it inspires a lot of courage.
Thank you, Rita.
Yep.
Any comments, anybody? All right, next on the agenda, I'm sorry, are there any further public comments? Next, I would like to invite Adam, our state representative, that's Meadmer, up front, and he's got a presentation to make. We've got a bicentennial this year, and
Yep, I know
he's here.
I know it can be a lot of work. I put one together for my church. Then I also worked, I'm from Teutopolis, so I worked on my hometown's centennial we had in 2014, and we had our churches in 2015. So I know it's a tremendous amount of work, but it's also a lot of fun. I had great times at both of them with my friends and family and folks in the community. So I want to say congratulations on 200 years in Edgar County. And I presented this resolution. This is a resolution that was read in on the House floor. These resolutions go through the normal bill process as any piece of legislation that I submit. It goes to the floor, it gets put on the daily calendar, and then I have to work it to get called in order for the resolution to pass, and then it requires a vote from all members present to pass this resolution. So I want to say congratulations on 200 years and to another 200 after that. So congratulations, folks.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving on, Lisa, we have the approval of the short stands decommissioning plan. We do have Bob here today, Calvin, and he's the one that reviewed the plan. His office reviewed the plan. So Bob, do you want to take the floor first?
As mentioned, Chastain was retained to review the decommissioning plan as part of all these projects, and It's very important that the county and the residents understand that everything ends sometime or another, and when it does, the property that's in question is decommissioned such that it goes back into the normal cycle of life. So we looked at this estimate, which was given to us several months ago. We waited until we got a finished plan from the developer. So it took them a while, but rather than guessing on quantities, we waited till we had actual plans, and then we reviewed those plans. And actually, they had overstated part of their estimate, which is good from a county's standpoint basis, because the estimate involved less panels than what they originally costed out and different things. So we wrote an opinion. Kevin Myers, PE with Chastain, actually was the one that did the research. Kevin was unable to be here this week, but he spent some time looking at, and most of this is new, so we didn't have a lot of data to go on. We do have local data as far as labor costs, trucking, disposal costs, all of which was in their estimate. The short answer is we did approve their estimate. I do have some comments on that. And, you know, it's a very small field compared to what's right across the county line. Again, quantities were reviewed and based on that set of plans and not the initial estimate. The cost range that we saw in review of other was from 20,000 K to 200,000 per kilowatt, and this estimate worked out to be 59, which is on the low side, but it also is a very simple project relative to some of the bigger projects. They also did not assume that there was any costs from the removal of material, so it would all be landfilled. In actuality, the new panels and certainly a lot of the steel would be recycled, so that's another buffer from the county standpoint. I did talk to local truckers on disposal costs, hauling costs in the landfill, and they said their costs were more than adequate for that. Again, this is an immediate cost, and we also would hope that if there's any development, it's not a problem immediately. But that's one thing. I did review the county's ordinance, and we pointed out that was an older ordinance, but the one that's in effect for this project. And also reviewed the standard impact mitigation agreement that the state has, and every project has to comply with that. The county's ordinance can be more restrictive, cannot be less restrictive than the state. I really think the county's is better in a couple standpoints. The standard ag impact mitigation agreement calls for bonding to be at the 10% level immediately, the 50% level after 6 years, and the 100% level after 21 years. I think our position on that is they could build that tomorrow, have a tremendous wind event or something, and have it decommissioned immediately. So I think the county's ordinance says 100% of the bonding immediately. So I think the county should stay in that mode. Other than that, again, our job was to look at their estimate. We approved their estimate as written, and would open for any questions that you have.
Lisa, do you have any comments?
I do have a comment, just to make it clear that our bond is a last resort, that this is only if the situation is such that they are not in business at the point of decommissioning, because if they are, then it's their agreement with the landowner that takes effect. This is if they declare bankruptcy or something like that. And also, in the old ordinance, because this application was approved during the old ordinance, salvage value goes to the county, whereas with the current ordinance by law, salvage value goes to the company. So that, I was sorry to see that stripped. And thank you, Bob. Please also convey our appreciation to Kevin. Kevin had a lot of communication with the solar company, and they were responsive. I think it was just things took time.
Yeah, they were worried about the issue and time, but they didn't ever give us the final plans.
Right.
And as soon as we got the final plans, Kevin worked on, the actual agreement, which really was a benefit. Could have gone the other way though. You know, they could have had more panels than what they estimated, they actually had less, so we didn't finish our project until we had final plans. Now, from the county standpoint, we need to know that that's what they're gonna build too. So when they actually issue a construction permit, then we can check that against the plans that they issued against this estimate.
And also for the public's knowledge, the project manager at that time, because like a lot of companies, it changes over time and depending on what stage of the process they're in. She's also communicated a lot with Dina Hassler and for the Supervisor of Assessment's office. And this has been, as Bob alluded, this is a small project and I'm very thankful for that because it's been a learning experience for us as well. And I think that we'll be a lot more prepared for future projects because of how this one has gone. So thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the decommissioning plan, which is the last segment that we have to approve, is that correct?
Yes,
So I need a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Lisa moves, Russ seconds. Further discussion. Augie, would you please call the roll?
Okay. Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Does carry. The next item, by the way, it's important to recognize the work that you put into this, Lisa, you and Bob and everybody involved, so appreciate it very much. Next, file the sheriff's semi-annual report. Jeff, did you have any comments on your semi-annual report?
Not at this time, no.
Are there any questions of the sheriff on his report? Could I have a motion to accept the sheriff's semi-annual report then, please? Dan moves. Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is accepted. Next is the county clerk's semi-annual report. Augie?
Yes, you have that at your seat, and I know it was short notice. Pretty similar to the last 6-month period. Of note, the recording fees are down a little bit. The real estate market has cooled off, and so the result of that over the 6-month period is a decline of approximately $10,000 in recording fees. So, in the big picture, it's a lot of money, but we make up for a lot of that in different areas, and it's seasonal. So,
Questions of Augie, please? Hearing none, motion to accept the report as presented. Russ moves, Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is accepted. Next, we have the appointment of Abby Barrett to the Edgar County Board of Health to fill a vacancy created by the resignation of Rodney Wolf. Are there any questions? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to approve that nomination and place Abby Barrett on the board. Dan, did you move? Or did? I'm sorry, Lisa,
I'm sorry.
and you're second, Dan seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. There is no action required on number 15 because we have not received, have you folks received anything? I have not, on the memorandum. Okay, I assume they're still working on it, so. Okay, office department head reports, Augie?
excuse me, you missed one, Jeff.
I missed
The
one.
footprint.
Oh, yes, geez, how did I do that? Oh, I had 2 check marks from the other day. Approved final footprint of new public safety building facility. We talked about that a lot on Monday morning. It's all revised and set, so any comments or questions? Okay, a motion to approve the footprint as we've discussed and presented. Andy moves. Russ seconds. Any further discussion? Okay, would you call the roll, please?
All right. Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Boyd. Call me too.
and Voight.
Yes. It is approved. Let's see. Okay. I think that is it then, isn't it? Okay, I just wanted to double check. Okay, officers and department heads. Augie, you want to start her off today?
Yeah, a couple of things. Wanted to follow up on what I mentioned Monday morning in study session regarding the winery license for Castle Finn. They had some concern that they were not competitive, if that's the right way to phrase that, with South Fork. South Fork, we just issued them a restaurant liquor license last year, and they can sell beer, but they're also serving food. Well, the winery cannot sell beer unless there's a special event, but the normal winery hours is limited to obviously wine, and that's the way it was set up years ago. And she being Sonia, is looking for a possibility, a way for the license to be able to include the sale of beer during the normal, regular winery hours when there is not a special event going on. And as a reminder, the special event license is an add-on to a winery license, whereby when there is a special event at the winery, then they can sell beer, wine, liquor. But when there's no event, she can't, and feels like that's an unfair advantage. And so, I talked to Jeff. We're looking at different ways. Possibly, we don't have anything to obviously give to you today because it's not on the agenda, but possibly rewording, rewriting the winery classification of license to include the sale of beer, and then maybe also add on to that only when purchased with some type of a food item. That all has to be discussed. And what's the definition of food? You know, they don't want to start a restaurant, but she's willing to buy any number of different kinds of prepackaged food, maybe frozen pizzas, what have you. They sell, obviously right now they sell cheese and crackers, but so there's some more discussion and research that needs to go into it. And I'm
Augie?
certainly open for suggestions.
Augie, I talked to Phil.
Okay?
What they'd like, and what we've had in the past, is simply they need to write an application for what they want. Okay?
Okay.
They need to put in writing what they want, and then the state's attorney will take a look at what fits, and if we have to come up with a new license or whatever, or whether it fits into one, then that's what happens. But we need it in writing what they want to apply for, okay?
Can I ask a question now, or do I need to wait till the end?
No, you can ask a question now.
So the winery and brewery license, so winery license is winery only, wine only, and no beer unless a special event, but brewery license is beer and wine, is that
Yeah,
correct?
it's not, technically it's not a brewery license, it's a restaurant liquor license.
Right.
And so yes, the sale of beer and wine, along with the food that gets prepared.
Yeah, so it's a matter of them telling us where they want to fit in. And we may have a license that we can switch them to that would make that possible. But they need to write down exactly what they want and what kind of license, or what they want to do with their license. And then the state's attorney's office will take a look at the ordinance that we have and advise the board on what it needs to do, if anything, other than maybe switching the license from what they currently have to a different license. Okay? Any questions? Except for Mandy. All right. Anything else, Augie?
One more thing, we should be finishing up with taxes the end of this week. So what we do after we enter all of the levies, drainage ditches, pollution control, railroads, once we get that all done, we send out approval forms to most all of the taxing bodies, and then they review that, they send it back to us, they sign off on the approval form. We do a couple of review steps, and then we're done. And then we let Don know, and he can review everything and print your tax bill. So we're hoping to release our part of it, hopefully the end of this week, but it shouldn't be any later than the first of next week.
How long will it take to get that feedback from the taxing bodies?
We have most of them already. I think we only have 2 or 3 yet, so.
Okay. Any questions of Augie? Josh? Do you want to talk about the visitation up on the scaffolding?
Yeah, we had a phone call back from Core. Apparently when he got back, he talked to his safety coordinator, and they thought the tour would be a safety issue for, without proper training and that kind of stuff, so it sounds like they don't really want to do this. It's a liability issue they're calling it, basically.
So we can't see our court, what's wrong with our courthouse up there and what they're doing.
Pictures or something, like I said, they don't think their safety guy had a concern for liability about you guys, for people actually without
Do you want
training
us-
being on the scaffolding.
Do you want us to push it on it and see if we can't get something, what do you want me, what do you want us to do?
Yeah,
Push it?
I wondered if they would come back with something like that. I mean, because I thought I was gonna just show up sometime, say, hey, I'd like to go up and see. Well, I'm sure you got wear hard hat. I'm sure from their standpoint, they're thinking, well,
Vertigo.
if you trip, fall off. Now,
Or
it's
vertigo
possible.
from the height?
So, we'll probably need a determination of liability on,
Can you
Probably needs to be done.
see if you can't still come up with some way to do that, please? Tell them the board is in, what?
Right now, they're carrying the liability on the project,
Yes.
so
I'm sure they don't want to add.
Well, I don't plan on going up, but maybe if, if the, Russ, you're the youngest, you should go up. Well, at any rate, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, At any rate, can you see if we can't come up with some way that,
You can't?
balance problems.
ooh, well, we'll send Carl up. He's been up, tell him he climbs up on top of hay mows and harvest doors and everything else, right?
Sign an at-your-risk waiver or something.
Right. See if we can't get Andy, Carl, and Lisa up there at the very least, okay?
I like the
Sheriff,
maybe
you
I can
wanna-
get that agreement.
Sheriff wants to go.
Oh, and the sheriff, I'm sorry.
Do you want to go?
Well, it's your option, obviously. Let's see if you can't work something
Yeah,
out.
I'll see.
We'd really like to see,
I understand.
have representatives take a look at what's going on,
Sure.
okay? I Okay, Adam, do you have anything to add to last Monday?
Nothing new since Monday.
Okay. Angie?
I don't have anything new. Sycamore's still working, trying to figure out why our air is not working right. But other than that, we're doing good. Did you have any questions for me?
After the meeting, we got a question on, well, I'll bring it. You had a question, bring it up now.
What was my question?
On the failure to appear warrants.
Yeah.
It says in the financial thing, that there's, I don't remember the figure, there's,
Failure to appear warrant, we have 17,000 in there, and I
current
just,
balance.
yeah, just wanted to know, where's that money come from,
And where does it go?
and where does it go?
Well, that's money, I believe the sheriff, well, the arresting agencies, let me back up. If somebody fails to appear in court and they issue a warrant, if judge checks the box that says fail to appear warrant fee, we can charge a $75 fee. $5 goes to the clerk for administrative purposes, and then 70 goes to the arresting agency. I assume to use for administrative, whatever they need.
We've used it in the past for various equipment and stuff, I believe.
Oh, really?
But the Safety
Okay.
Act, if it takes effect, since it's on hold, we can still charge that if judge checks it. But when that takes effect, that'll be gone.
So what takes effect?
The Safety Act.
You know, the no bail and all that.
So.
Is that being held up in the courts right now?
Yes.
So we are able to take it now. I mean,
Yeah. Okay.
So on the sheriff's, we have the bail bond fee, which is a little over 6,000. And then on this other, we have a little over 17,000 in failure to appear. Which one of those is a bond forfeit?
I'm sorry.
Is
now?
one of these the bond forfeit money? Okay.
No, we
well,
don't get the bond forfeit money.
Okay, where's that go?
I think part of it, I would have to check for sure to see how it's split, but it goes to, some of it probably goes to the attorney. Well, I know if it's a bond forfeiture for the city of Paris, I believe part of it goes to the city of Paris. And then, I'm not sure if the rest of it goes to general fund somehow, or we'd have to go check on the split.
Okay. I just noticed today, it kind of is more to my notice, because on the sheriff's it says bail bond fee, and that's a fairly sizable amount of money. But then there's something that I thought looked kind of similar on the report that Dawn gives us.
That bail bond fee is a $38 fee that they charge when somebody posts bond.
Anytime anybody puts bond down there.
Okay.
So if your
That's
bond's
separate
$100,
from the
you
failure
pay-
to appear.
If it's $100 bond, you pay 138. If it's 200, I mean, it's 38 added on to whether it's a
Gotcha. Okay.
paper handling fee, basically, regardless whether it's $100 or $100,000, it's a
Okay.
$38 fee.
Plus 75?
If it's a failure to appear.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Monica, did you have anything you wish to say?
We are focusing on outreach this summer. We've got our health education department doing public health department park, and participating in several events, just trying to make sure people are aware of our WIC containment case management services, and services, and doing very well so far.
Any questions of Monica? Okay. Jill?
We purchased our new phones for the EOC, got them set up, so we actually canceled Frontier this morning. So that should save us lots of money, every month. And then, we've got a couple of campaigns we're starting up, Red Cross with. Smoke detectors, volunteers, I don't know, there was something else she was wanting to work with USDA with. Other than that, that's all I got.
Okay, any questions of Jill? Okay. Scotty, did you have any comments? Sheriff?
Not at this time.
Hey, Wyatt, you have anything?
Well, Lisa asked me to give an update on the trailer built to Wind and Solar 4412, so, I guess I could start with, the big thing's gonna be drainage districts, as we've talked in the past. There was no language on drainage districts, and it kinda left everybody in a lurch. So we've got that covered, thankfully. The plans will outline that, so we're pretty happy to get that across the finish line. The other big one would be that they're gonna require damages, restitution for those affected crops within, their path of building. Lastly, they're going to have the protection for decommissioning. That was not in there before, and that was a big one to put in there. Now, we didn't get everything that we wanted to put in there, but we did as well as we could, and I'd be remiss with Representative Niemerg here. He's got a little more inside picture than I do, so if there's anything you'd like to add.
No, I don't need it. Explain it very well.
No. Yeah, we're, win some, you lose some, we're happy with where we're at. We got the big things covered to protect landowners the best that we can at this moment. Anything I missed, Lisa?
So this wasn't put into law, this is still currently a bill? Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Adam, did you have anything you wanted to?
Oh, just listening to the conversation. If anybody has questions about a particular piece of legislation, if you guys have any questions about the solar and wind setbacks, anything that's been put forth in statute, anything at all, please let me know. I'll be happy to work and get you the answers that you need for anything that you have moving forward.
Thank you, Adam. Okay, did I miss anybody? Okay. Dan? Committee reports?
Stopped at the shelter yesterday. We still have 30 animals in the shelter. A couple litters of pups. I think one had 11 pups, the other was 4 or 5. Very difficult to get rid of small animals. She said nobody wants black ones, so it kind of presents a problem too, because one litter's all black, so I'll see what she's going to do with those. We'll try and find some extra help for her. There was an ad in the paper last week. She's had no response to the ad. So, but she does have a volunteer that helps some, and I think she has another relative that may help her also. So right now we're kind of up in arms. So if anybody wants to volunteer to clean out dog pens and all that, we probably could use some help. So that's where we're at. She does a great job for help she has.
Thank you. Andy?
I did get the electrician and Ross together yesterday.
They just missed each other.
They had just missed each other. Okay, well.
But he did.
He called me, the electrician called me, and I called Ross and said, get over there.
He was leaving.
Oh, he was leaving when, okay. Well,
But
he's there today.
He did, okay.
I think that's where this text that I got, that I answered, told him to get Ross's number so he could go back over there today.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I just left Ross.
Okay.
But he did identify where he wanted stuff, so.
So as long as he knows where they are, I think, well, it's not an issue that it's easily put there at this point anyway. So, but they're working on, they're getting that, the air conditioning unit installed in the IT room down there. They're working on it this morning.
Is the unit on the back side, now will that bother Rowdy at all in what he's doing?
You know, I thought of that. I don't think so, because that area of the wall is in good shape. It's the corners and not right there.
Okay.
And I told Dustin, I said, if he needs to do something, we could have,
There's a few inches between that unit and the wall too, that if they have to get back in there.
Well, that's,
they can get behind it. You can take it out. I think if, at some point, we're gonna have to do some contouring of that concrete back there. And then there's that one that's sitting on the ground. I said something to Dustin, I said, can we unhook that, set it aside, pour the concrete, do everything, and put it back? And he goes, yeah, that's easy to do. So I assume same deal with that one if we had to. So, there. And they are going to go ahead and put a couple of the lights on the back. That one from CIPS, they've already got a hold of somebody, and they're gonna pull that out of there. And then put the light, I think you need something back there pretty soon. You got some units that are sitting back there that I don't want somebody messing with, so. Anyway, that's it.
Russ? Carl?
I want to thank Rita for coming and speaking to us. I agree 100% with everything you said. I think most people in this room probably agree. I know a couple years ago when we were addressing the wind ordinance, or whatever it's called, we had a room full of people in the bays out of the county highway expressing their opinions, and the county board did a lot of research at that time, looking into the setback was one of the big things, and that's been a big issue with me, and that's why a couple weeks ago when we voted it, I could not vote for that, because the state is forcing this on us, you know. I think the local people know a little better about what we need in Edgar County than the state people do. And so I applaud you for coming and totally agree with you on everything you said.
We had a presentation on shadow flicker, which people don't understand, but the guy had a video and he showed the shadow flicker on his living room wall, so that's another reason why we wanted our setback to be a lot more than what the state required, so that helps a lot.
I think we need to protect our county.
And hopefully maybe Adam, as you know, something comes up in the future, I don't know that it will, and I'm sure you feel the same way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that particular bill, we debated it on the floor, we're very unhappy. When we even discussed Edgar County, what you folks did on the setbacks with the ordinances during debate. But it is essentially a trailer bill to the Clean Energy Jobs Act. It's the Green New Deal here in the state of Illinois, the governor was an advocate for. So with the Grain Belt Energy Express line coming through, with eminent domain coming in on that particular project, this was a trailer bill for solar and wind on the setbacks to piggyback off of CJIS. So in my opinion, I think that they'll continue to run these pieces of legislation in the future. We just have to be prepared and willing to push back.
Thank you.
Anything else, Carl? Lisa?
Nothing since Monday.
No, I don't have anything unless you have. Do we need a closed session for any reason? I do know that I talked to Jessica, and they had gotten with Nan and Bellwether, sorry.
Okay.
And they have resolved the issue and come up with the wording that will make everything possible.
Okay. Well, I brought it up at the 911 meeting Monday.
Right.
And afterwards, I told Nan to get a hold of Jessica and get things worked out.
And that has happened.
Some way, somehow get it worked out.
And
so.
they have. And
Good.
I think we're in the right direction, and we're legal. Okay.
Good. All right.
Yes, Dan?
A lady keeps asking about the time capsules buried on the courthouse yard, but there's something in the paper about it was buried in 1976. I read something about that in somewhere.
Okay,
Yes.
Or, okay, so no sense digging it up, but one put in there in 1976, right?
And all that stuff's vintage now.
Pardon?
I said all that stuff's vintage now. I'm telling, that's,
So she keeps asking me.
I think it's a good idea.
I've tried it out for a little.
It's semi-vintage.
Yeah.
Well, put in perspective, strawberry shortcake lunchboxes are outselling Lone Ranger lunchboxes right now.
okay.
That's all.
I'll just hold on to mine a little longer.
Which one do you have?
I'm not telling. Oh, Callie, did you have anything you wish to bring to the
My
forefront?
Lisa's question on the failure to appear and the bond forfeiture that was my question.
Okay. Okay. So, if there's no other business to come before the meeting, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Russ is on top of it. And then Andy's the second. So, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.